Hello, hello. Welcome to Breaking Barriers. And today is week 8. We came so far to week 8, and today we will study chapter 7. Hi, Paul.
Good morning, good evening. I'm not sure. I know you're in Malta right now, so I don't know. I wouldn't even want to guess what time it is.
Yeah, it is just 1:30.
Oh yeah, okay. Early afternoon. Whatever time it is, it's always if you're me, it's always time to make a plan. This chapter resonates with me. Organized planning. Um, yes, if you don't have a plan, it's impossible to know if you're getting where you're trying to go, right? I mean, like he calls this the crystallization of desire into action. But for whatever reason, it's not step one for a lot of people when they're taking on a project, is actually creating a plan. And I don't know why that is, but this chapter, hopefully, after reading this chapter, anybody who's hesitant to make plans about things um, understands that critical role of a well defined plan if you want to achieve success.
Yes, planning is super important, and plan can fail, but when you plan, you never fail. Yes, plan can fail. Yes. So it is not about creating the perfect plan which will never fail and be perfect yourself. It is
And
about setting plan and act, and then to see if the plan doesn't work, you still keep doing things, you still be consistent, and you create the new plan, and you do this till you succeed.
that's based on everything I do. I work with small businesses, and I guess I'm happy that most smaller businesses don't have a business plan, because when I help them create their first business plan, they think I'm magical. They think I'm brilliant, but I'm not. It's just the matter of I'm making them make a plan. And plans, to me, this isn't from the chapter, but plans are made to be changed. You can change your plans. That's beautiful about them. You made the plan with whatever information was available to you at the time. But when new information reveals itself, well, you can change your plan. But if you didn't have a plan, whenever new information reveals itself, you don't have a baseline to compare it to. And I would work with businesses, and they would come to me and say, I have this new idea. I want to do something completely different. And at first, their enthusiasm is kind of frightening, because I'm like, okay, is this some kind of alcohol infused manic decision you're making, or is this something you've thought through? So we always say, all right, well, let's compare your new idea to the plan. Not even getting into, is this new idea consistent with your burning desire? Is this idea consistent with your faith? Is this idea consistent with what you believe to be true? This is just a new idea. But if we just react and change and pivot based on new ideas, or reacting to new conditions, absent a plan, I feel like we're just throwing stuff against the wall, hoping it sticks. But if you have a new idea to change what you're doing, and this is in business or in life, but if you want to change what you're doing, check with the plan. Does it still work? Does the plan still work? And it forces you to put that extra level. It can prevent you from making a bad decision, or it can help you formulate your new idea into an existing plan, or bend it to accommodate. But the core idea here is that desire alone is not enough. Now, I think it's very, very intentional the way he lays out these chapters, and this chapter is not before desire. Obviously, we gotta shore up the desire. We got to make sure we're using critical thinking. We got to make sure we have faith. But organized planning, um, your desire needs to be translated into action, and you do this through an organized plan, and it's a plan that's strategic.
Yes. So the plan is the essential part of every success. And if your plan fails, the temporary defeat is not permanent failure. You never fail if you don't quit. Yes, and I like the quote from this chapter that states that quitters never win, winners never quit. So if the plan doesn't work, it doesn't mean that you fail. You just have to see what other plan you can bring into the place. And also in this chapter, the very big emphasis is to have a mastermind group alliance with people who understand your vision and can also share their perception to see you how you can achieve that is to help you with the plan, and the plan should be sound plan. And persistent is very important key, because we try do something with what we have today, and when you move forward your situation changes, and then you have to pivot, you have to make some additional planning. But it is very important to start acting according to your plan, because you have to work the plan and do the work itself, and not to be like people who just plan and plan and plan and never act. Here it is very important that you get the plan from what you have, where you are now, and you start making first steps and you see if this plan works or not.
Right. Well, the planning is powerful. There's three kind of phases. There's a necessity, direction, and the action. A definite plan is essential if you want to convert your desire into reality. Because without a plan, it's like a ship without a rudder. You're reacting because in the world there are people reacting to things. There are also people causing things. And if you're constantly reacting to things, your growth is limited because someone's throwing obstacles at you. But if you're creating things, you're not focusing on any kind of other obstacles. In a sense, you're creating them yourself. But it's a necessity, but it gives you that direction. I think of a plan like a roadmap. And sometimes when you have a roadmap, you need an alternate route because there might be a car accident. And if you're trying to drive somewhere and there's a car accident and the road's closed and you don't know how to get another route, your plan fails. So it's good to have, you want to have a roadmap, if you will, guiding your efforts. Otherwise, you're just going to wander around. You might drive in circles. And the biggest thing, and you just hit on it, was action. Planning facilitates action. Too many times I've seen planners, and planners not necessarily in a good way. They will plan and plan. They will plan every detail. They will get it perfect. Meanwhile, everybody's already at the beach, and you're still home planning. um, you want to break down goals into manageable steps, and that was what I took away from the action. It's okay to have a plan to make $10 million in 20 years, but what are you going to do today? That big plan doesn't help you this morning. So, what are the little steps that will get you there? And all of this goes into a plan. And the plan comes after all of those previous chapters we talked about. The burning desire is established. And what you said about an alliance or having a mastermind, as someone who's done that a lot, one of the moments you never forget is when you go to a mastermind and you're not the one getting all the benefit. Like you go to the mastermind at first and it's like, wow, these people have their stuff together. This is really helpful. This is this amazing new perspectives. But that first time you make a comment and others are like, oh wow, thank you. That helps. That's great. That's an awesome point. This is where your ideas for your plans come from. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Lean on your peer group or your mastermind or your the people you have these things in common with, And that's the benefit of planning. But there's also next level planning, which involves the Mastermind Alliance.
Yes, and when you plan your roadmap, also you will plan your daily actions. This is good to do it in the evening when you write the most six non-negotiable actions. What is your priority to do next day? So you go to sleep with the already planned for the next day, and you wake up in the morning, you already know what to do. So you get yourself disciplined to do what is negotiable every day, and it will help you to keep you focused and not to be distracted. Because if we don't plan, we know how easily we can be distracted because there are so many things which can just pop up in our mind or from other people and ourselves. We can just think about so many things to do, and all of them are important. And our mind cannot focus on one thing and start jumps on different things, and we don't do anything properly at the end of the day. That is why it is very important to know what you are going to do every day. What are your six non negotiable actions that are aligned with your goal? And what is the priority? What is the most important? You do it first. Like Brian Tracy says, eat the frog. You eat the frog. It means do something that you don't want to do. Because successful people, this is the common denominator of success, they do things which failures don't like to do. And successful people eat the frogs every day. They do things which they don't like to do, but they know that these things will bring them to their results. And the failures, they do opposite. They just do what is comfortable. They go to the less resistance way, what is comfortable, and then they don't have time to do things which are important. Because we have to focus on 20% of things which produces us 80% results, and this is only possible when we properly plan our days.
Right. Well, and Hill has these. I guess there's three key elements of an effective plan, and if you have a plan, you can gauge it by saying, "Is it these three things?" Number one is definiteness. The goals are specific, and the steps to achieve the goals are specific. But the second element is flexibility. You have to adapt your plan as you need to. If there's a bridge out, you have to go around. What's your plan say to do there? And the flexibility is always based on like new information or obstacles. New information doesn't mean we throw the plan away. New information means we improve the plan. But the third element, according to Hill, is persistence. You have to stay committed to your plan, especially when you're faced with challenges. Not if you're faced with challenges. That's when it's the most important. The plan seems useless when everything is going according to the plan. The plan's value comes in when things get difficult and it's hard to see what the goals originally were. We're just focused on the here and now. So you can't be acting on a strategic vision when you're stuck in the weeds of some new obstacle that seems to be insurmountable. The plan just has a new little paragraph added to it. This is what we do now from now on when this happens. But definiteness, flexibility, and persistence. Effective plans have those three things. So if you have a plan, is it specific? How flexible is it? And are you persistent with implementing it?
Yes, and it is important to have the right attitude to failure. Because, as Napoleon said, you will face failure. I want to share some paragraph from this chapter. No
Okay.
follower of this philosophy can reasonably expect to accumulate a fortune without experiencing temporary defeat. When defeat comes, accept it as a signal that your plans are not sound. Rebuild those plans and set sail once more towards your coveted goal. If you give it up before your goal has been reached, you are a quitter. A quitter never wins and winner never quits. Lift this sentence out, write it on a piece of paper in letters in each eye, and place it where you will see it every night before you go to sleep and every morning before you go to work. And in previous chapters, we also read that just before you succeed, you will experience a lot of challenges, and you can see, oh, I failed, it didn't work. And this happens just before you succeed. It looks like universe just checking on you if this goal is really important for you, if it is really your burning desire, that you really want to do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. So time to time you will feel that you failed, but actually you never fail if you don't quit. Yes, so do this as Napoleon said, accept temporary defeat and know that they are part of the process. And if you feel that you fail in something, it is not that you failed, it is just the plan didn't work. So what you do, you decide on what you can do better, what is the better plan for you, and start acting accordingly.
Well, and there's there's a lot of talk about failure in different stances in this book. I pulled out what I thought were like the five common causes of planning failure. Um, and a lot of this deals with what is the key elements, but lack of clarity. You don't know what it is you want or how to get it. There's no way to plan here, but people insist on making a plan, but it's like a roadmap to where. Um, the other one is a big one in a lot of things, and a lot of people work to overcome this. And our friend Daniel works with this a lot, but it's procrastination. You're delaying action on your plan. And I've heard it said a bunch of times that decisive action beats planning every day of the week. But absent a plan, you can't sustain that decisive action for long because you end up without direction. But when we procrastinate, we don't take any action. So planning is not the opposite of taking action. Planning is an action in and of itself, but planning is ongoing. Think of it as we're building a bicycle as we're riding it. We're not going to stop and get off the bike and build it. We're riding it. We're making adjustments to the plan, but the plan's already in action because we're not going to try to build this perfect bicycle that no one can ride. Um, there's a fear of failure. Uh, we hesitate to take risks. And sometimes, even when it's not risky, we hesitate to make decisions. But that fear of failure can also be coupled by what you just talked about. I think there's a fear of success. There's almost like this internal terror barrier or something that prevents you from succeeding. And the closer you get to success, the stronger that fear gets. And that's why you hear stories of people that get 2 feet from the gold and quit because that's there's a fear. But he also talks about inconsistency, and he also talks about just horrible follow through. A great plan is not great if you don't follow through effectively. A mediocre plan with a good follow through is way better than a great plan without a good follow through. And these are his five causes of planning failure. And I thought this was helpful to me because you know how I am. I like checklists. I like bullet points. I like um, breaking things down into actionable steps. And this chapter has a lot of that.
Yes, and I would like to mention some other reasons of failure as well. So, as Napoleon mentioned in this chapter, that one is unfavorable hereditary background. This, which can be done for people who are born with a deficiency in brain power, And this philosophy offers but one method of bridging this weakness through the aid of the mastermind. Yes, so this is a very big power to get connected to people who are already successful, who also have big goals, and to pick up their brains. Yeah, because we cannot see the picture from different perspectives. Yeah, we have to develop that ability. And when we communicate with people in mastermind, we can borrow their brains. They can share with us idea about our goal or about our plan that we didn't see. And when they share from their viewpoint, we say, "Oh, it is so brilliant! How I didn't think about this. Thank you." Yes, and this is the power of mastermind when we can pick up ideas of other people who can see
Well,
it.
and it's based on collaboration, right? Because collaboration amplifies individual effort, but it also provides support, and support that I think is valuable. But you be careful, be careful who you mastermind with, because if you know if you don't share a goal, or you share in a desire for each other to achieve their goal, it's probably not the right mastermind. It's sometimes business networking is it's a bunch of people showing up trying to sell something. Nobody shows up to networking trying to buy something. Everybody's trying to sell something. And so when you have those kind of networking, that's not a mastermind. That's, trying to make one speech to many. Um, there's not a whole lot of give and take. Masterminds are a bunch of individual or smaller group relationships under the same guise of achieving goals. And when you're in a mastermind, that's a that's almost like a cheat code, or steroids, if you will, for the planning portion. When you're making a plan, being able to, like you say, pick the brains of others who don't share your exact same perspective. They don't share your exact same experience. They have something to offer that you haven't thought about. They have failed in ways that maybe you can learn from and avoid mistakes that they made. And vice versa. You may have failed in ways and can help them avoid mistakes. But when it comes to the initial planning stages, the pro tip is always the mastermind, and having a mastermind, even if it's one person, just being able to check your work, you know, and if it's someone that shares your vision and mission and enthusiasm, it's a situation where iron sharpens iron.
Yes, I'm glad that you mentioned that mastermind is not just networking event. Yes, we really very carefully pick up people to be in our mastermind group, and it is a very small number of people. It can be four, six, eight people. Yes, so not big group. And you meet with these people twice a month, where you tell about what you want to achieve. You tell about your problems, and they share their opinions, and then everyone goes around like that, and everyone can pick up other people's brain to see at their situation from different perspectives. Yeah, so this is mastermind, and we will speak about this more detailedly in different lesson. So other reasons for failure, the second reason of failure is lack of a well-defined purpose in life. This is huge because everything starts from purpose. Even that burning desire, when we find what we really want to do, it should be related to our purpose in life. Yes, because purpose in life is that really big thing that everything goes around that. And this is what makes our life really fulfilled, when it makes us happy, fulfilled, happy, and when this giving this a sense that you are doing very good something that very appreciative, and something very valuable. Yes, and this is all should come from purpose of in life. So there is no hope of success for the person who doesn't have a central purpose or definite goal at which to aim. 98 out of every 100 of those whom I have analyzed had no such aim. Perhaps this was the major cause of their failure. Yeah, because if there is no purpose in life, this is how you will be like the ship without wheel. Yeah, because the wind will go one way and you will be moved to one way and then another way, and you never will know where are you going. This is unfortunately, as Napoleon said here, 85% of people don't have purpose.
Well, and when you get into the 2%, I think the value of this book is, yeah, you have the purpose. Most people have a purpose. I don't know what it is, but what the top 1% of that 2% or whatever, you said 98 out of 100. Well, of those two, most of them don't have the level of clarity. They haven't honestly gone through their desires and figured out what their burning desire is and created clarity on it, started communicating that burning desire intentionally with their subconscious mind. But when you've got lack of clarity, you'll find that planning is much easier because it's really easy to evaluate elements of your plan as if, is this the highest best use of my time? Is this what I should be doing in furtherance toward my burning desire? When you've got clarity, when you've been able to visualize it and you have faith that you're going to succeed, planning becomes a lot easier. And that's the lack of clarity about your vision, your mission, your specific goals. When you don't have that clarity, there's the plan's kind of limp. It doesn't really, it's not effective. And that's a reason for failing. I agree 100% with Hill and your take on it, because it's 100% accurate.
Yes, yes, definitely, it is so. The next reason of the failure is lack of ambition to aim above mediocrity. I like this, really like
You
every.
like the big goals. I know that. I know that's your jam.
Yes, so yes, lack of ambition to aim above mediocrity. When we just think about that, we have this life and we have been given this life and we have been given everything to aim big in life, yes, and achieve big goals and create something that hasn't been was done before, something really big. So why we would think about just being mediocre? How why we just think about being average or just think what other people did and think copy that. We don't want to be copy because we are very unique being that has given unique talents and gifts and the power to create everything what you just can think about and create something new which didn't exist. As we spoke last time about imagination, that imagination can be creative and can be synthetic. Remember that synthetic is to create something that already exists, just adding maybe some new features. But creative imagination, it is something that comes from your essence, who you really are, and from your uniqueness. And you just think about you have those tools that you can do anything you just can think about and dream about. So why to go low? Why to go slow? When we have
Well,
such.
I I would say though, and when you're talking to others, it's important to to take a step, because what you think of as mediocre, someone else might think of outstanding, wildly successful, and you've got to stretch that imagination, or that concept or that reality of what is possible, because when you have the sense of enlightenment that I know you have, you are convinced that nothing is impossible. And when you probably draw motivation from someone saying that, oh, you can't do that, that's impossible, that motivates you. That's a demotivator for someone who hasn't seen that enlightenment. So the job is not to instruct them to do the impossible. The job is to show them that the impossible is true. It's I think it was G.K. Chesterton, was an author a long time ago, and he had a quote, and I'm probably butchering it, and it said, "Fairy tales don't convince children that dragons and monsters are real.
Mhm.
Fairy tales teach children that you can kill dragons and monsters." And that's the dragon or the monster is the limiting beliefs that people have. And if you don't address the limiting beliefs, you may get buy-in, but it's just kind of lip service. And that's a reason for planning to fail. They don't really have the belief that it can happen. So, you know, empowering them like Hill does with the reader, empowering them by motivating you through tapping into your burning desire, um, clearly defining what faith is, and having specified knowledge. All of these things are building up. Now we're in the plan. And I mean, like the chapter title says, this is the crystallization of desire into action. But dreaming big, this is an opportunity, especially when you're working with someone in a mastermind and they are not dreaming big enough. And I'm sure you run into this all the time where like you're not dreaming big enough. You need a bigger goal than what you have. Be better than mediocre. And when you're doing that, it might be worth asking them, who do you look to as a success? What do you think extraordinary looks like? What's an extraordinary income? What's an extraordinary um, action, or income level or whatever? Because you might be their mediocre, your mediocre might be their extraordinary. So the work that we have to do when it's us, we need to dream bigger, but we need to dream bigger by maybe I shouldn't hang out with a bunch of people who are unemployed and alcoholics because I might falsely assume I've got my stuff together because I'm doing better than everyone I'm hanging out with. But if you hang out with five losers, you'll be the sixth. If you hang out with five geniuses, you'll be the sixth. You are the sum of all the parts that you surround yourself with. And dreaming big is it's usually a thermometer. It's like when you see what they're dreaming, you realize their dreams aren't big enough. Something's holding them back. We need to go back to chapter one. We need to go back to chapter two. We didn't get it. There's a limiting belief in this. You're not ready to make a plan if you don't believe in the burning desire, and you haven't acquired any specialized knowledge. You have to do all the steps in the right order. Planning, you're ready to plan, but if your goals aren't much more than mediocre, it's kind of like when you get held back. You got to repeat the second grade. Go back and read the previous chapter. It can't hurt. You've got to get this. This book is valuable when you use it as the tool it is. It's not. You're not trying to hurry up and finish reading it. You're trying to get that message, and sometimes it takes rereading it. I've read this book dozens of times, and I get something new out of it every single time.
Yes, and also don't compare yourself with anyone. Think what is big for you, because as Paul said, we cannot have the same goals and that it will be the same value for everyone. So find what is big for you and not just the size of that goal. Find something that is aligned with your purpose, which makes you excited and inspired. And when you don't feel how time flies, this is how you get in the flow, when you just follow your natural abilities, natural talents, and gifts, and enjoy every moment of this process. And set those big goals, because based on the goals you set, you will make your plan. Yes, if your goal is big, your plan also will be reflection of that. If your goals are small, you will have totally different plan. And I tell you that you will not be happy, you will not be excited, you will not be inspired if your goal is not small, and you will quit because you will not have that stimul inside motivation to face challenges and to take uncomfortable actions. So
And all these challenges, you can overcome them with three things: decisive decision making, persistence, self discipline. You make prompt decisions and you stay. If you persevere through the setbacks and you learn from your mistakes and you stay focused and committed to your goals, you can overcome the planning challenges. But when you're planning, and we're assuming that all the other steps that were outlined in the previous chapters were absorbed. You read it, you learned it, you love it, you live it. And once you get to that level, the planning challenges that you're preparing yourself for, they just aren't there because you're prepared, you made decisions, you're persistent, and you're self-disciplined.
yes, there are some other reasons of failure which we can just name and you can read in the chapter. That is procrastination, lack of persistence, negative personality, lack of self discipline, insufficient education, ill health, and unfavorable environmental influences during childhood. So, these all are the reasons of failure, and you can address one by one and see which is related to you and start working on replacing those habits. Yes. Also, there are some more that I think we don't go to read them all because it is long chapter and many features which you can analyze by reading this chapter, and choose one or two which you found in your case that stop you from success. What you think, identify what I think there are totally 30 reasons of failure. So you write from these 30 reasons which one you recognize in yourself and decide which one or two maximum you will start working. What you can do to start eliminating that in your life, in your behavior, in your thoughts, and start empowering yourself in that direction. For example, if it is procrastination that you think that it's a major reason of your failure, start thinking what you can do to stop procrastination, because procrastination, it is the same as indecision. Yes, indecision. So start working on making decisions on based on what you have where you are now, and make decision fast. So identify this, and this will be the homework for the next week.
Yeah, and just remember the essence of this chapter. Yeah, you're right. It's a long chapter, especially compared to some of the shorter ones. Thinking, which this book really puts a lot of emphasis on proper thinking and critical thinking and intentional thinking. But thinking is only the starting point. If you want to achieve success, you got to translate your desires into concrete plans, and you have to execute them with determination and persistence. You cannot procrastinate. You cannot you cannot delay. You have to take action. So with determination and persistently coming back, and that's how you succeed. But the thinking, which is very very important, is just the beginning. Thinking, you can't think your way to success. You can't. There's got to be a plan. You got to take action, and the probability of your action being successful is directly proportional to, well, whether or not you have a plan, and if you have one, how good is it? Is it flexible? Is it adaptable? Is it clear? Is it consistent? And is it driven by your burning desire? Because if it's not, it's just a job, it's just a task, it's just a check. You're checking something off a list. We're trying to create success that's transformative. So if you look at the things that are in your way, read them. I mean, there's dozens of things, and more than one is going to apply to you. But pick two and use it like a mastermind. And we can, I bet you one of the things that's slowing you down, or a challenge to your planning process, someone in your mastermind or someone in this group or someone that has encountered the same thing. And it's a lot easier to find what you're looking for when you know what you're looking for.
Yes, because mastermind group people who have big goals, they can see you the way you don't see yourself. Yeah, because we cannot see ourselves as other people. So it is always good to ask other people, of course, selected ones, not everyone, but that you really know that they think big the same way as you and have big goals, to reflect and give you some feedback. Yes, after you discuss situations, listen carefully, get feedback, and stay focused on your goal, and be persistent.
I mean, it's a long chapter, but I feel like he's beating this drum. He's beating these 3 points over and over and over. It's you've got to translate your desires into concrete plans and execute them with determination and persistence. You must.
Yes,
I mean,
and mhm.
that's the theme of this chapter. And if you, there's a lot of specifics to get in here, but this is a big chapter, and this is where we're kind of taking a turn. And we're taking all the things we've done before. We're taking that burning desire. We're taking our faith. We're taking our specialized knowledge, and we're creating a plan. And in typical Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich fashion, we're getting an Easter egg. He's talking about the mastermind, but the mastermind is something we're going to learn a lot more about later.
Yes, as there will be separate chapter about mastermind, where we will get together with you. So by this point, study this chapter number 7. Napoleon did such a great job. He already analyzed the reasons of failure. This is the homework for this week. Read those reasons for failure, also find reasons for success, and identify what are the most dominative reasons of your failure, and start working, like pick which is the most dominating two, write list of all of them you identify in yourself, and find two which you will work first of all, and create a plan what are you going to do differently to start strengthen that weakness which you have. Yes, create a plan what are you going to do, and be persistent, be focused, concentrate, and you will never fail if you do this and don't quit.
Yeah, and this chapter 7 really has the potential, and this homework assignment basically has the potential to really give you some impact, to really change the course of how you're going to just live the rest of your life. This book is life changing, and this to me is the crossroad. We've been going down a straight line. It's very logical. It's in order. It makes sense. It's building on it, and this chapter does that. But we just got off of the highway onto the autobahn. We are taking it to the next level. We are going much faster. We are going in a really clear direction. And I part of me thinks he made this chapter so long because it's not a ton of information. It's just important. So he made this long chapter about a simple concept because it's that important. But this is where we're taking it to the next level. You can't, you're going to get left behind if you're not ready to get on the autobahn. You don't ride a skateboard on the autobahn, but that's what you're doing if you're trying to grow rich on a skateboard. You need a car, and you need a fast car because everybody on that road is going fast.
And after fast car, you might need a plane. Yeah. So,
Or an ambulance, depending on how good a driver you are.
yeah, great. So, I would like us to speak in the next episode about leadership. Yeah, because this was really big chapter, and I would like us to highlight leadership also. So this is what we can do next week. So this week, focus on these reasons why people fail, and find some active in your start contemplating about what you want, how really important for you to achieve your goal, what is the purpose of your life, how your goal is aligned with your purpose. Get inspired, get uh, energized with just that is possible. Just believe that that is possible, and when you do exactly the steps which we share with you and Napoleon shares in the book and we share in our program, you guaranteed will get results if you do the work. So do the plan and also do the work which is in your plan, because implementation is power. Everyone can listen for us many hours, but if you don't do the work, if you don't do it step by step, nothing will change. And if you listen this video first time, if you missed our previous episodes, I would strictly recommend you to go from the beginning and listen all through initial episodes from one, because these all have compounding effect, and go through all homework. That is how you will get results which you expect from this program.
Yeah, this program delivers results. And just a point of warning: if you don't want to become a leader, you should probably stop now, because this is what's happening. This is how leaders are built. Leaders learn. And the the biggest thing about leadership, active leaders, just because you're the leader doesn't mean you're always the teacher. Sometimes you're the student. You can learn something from everyone. I believe that every person is a creator in their own right. They just either lack the confidence, they lack the plan, they lack the desire, they lack the organization, whatever it is. This program is building you through what I still consider divine work literature that has the power to not only improve people's lives, but it has the power to actually help you manifest things that you didn't even know were possible, much less knew that you wanted. And you got to trust the process. The book is great, but your chances of being one of the people who this book helped drastically increase their situation are your chances are increased by 1,000% by participating in an organization or a group like what we're doing, because this is you're getting the benefit of people who've read the book multiple times, and you're getting the benefit of the peer group of people who might be experiencing it the exact same way you are, but you can learn from them and they can learn from you.
Yes, and next episode will be very important because we will speak about leadership, and it is not just about how to lead effectively other people, but first it starts with you to lead yourself, how to know yourself and how to lead yourself, how to take responsibility of your thoughts, feelings, and actions, and how to be consistent and persistent to achieve your goal. And in this program, we hold your hand, we tell you exactly what to do, how to do. We get you accountable. So stick to this program. Do every day what is taken. We also have a daily tracker, which is already available for you. So do share your results. Do share your feedback. Ask questions in the group, so we can know where you are, what challenges you're facing, and we can always help you to grow together with us.
I'm excited. I know right now that the work we're doing today, even Elena, is creating a change for somebody else. And they're gonna see through the working through this book with us and with everyone else. They're gonna see what we saw when we learned the very first time we read this book. This is the very second time we read this book, and all the subsequent times we read this book. This is a book. This one book offers a lifetime of self improvement, and if you trust the process, you will be happy with the results. I promise.
Yes, yes, and we already see how people who implement these steps already see results, because we can read your sharing in the group that you already achieved the goals. and you Paul also even achieved your goal so
Right.
far.
It's made me. It's really messed with my availability for some of the discussions because my goal was to find some fulfilling work in my field that I was giving up on, and right out of the sky falls an opportunity that I'm in love with. It's just there goes all my discretionary time because um, when you work in what you're supposed to be doing, it's not work, and you get lost in it, and you become more and more connected with what you're doing. But when you're doing that and you're getting compensated um, by a number that was a goal that you might have even doubted when you wrote it down. I'll admit I might have doubted it when I wrote it down. It didn't take a month. It didn't take a month, but I was doing the work, and got to you got to do it. Trust me, I wouldn't lie. It works.
Yes.
It worked on me again. I was waiting to see who was going to be the first person to say, "Oh my goodness, I did this. I wrote it down. I said it again. I believed it. I burned it. Blah blah blah." It happened. I was waiting for that to happen, and I was, wondering who was going to be first. I think it was me. I was not expecting it. I was doing it. I was doing the work, and I know it works. But even if you're doing the work, and even if you know it works, sometimes the speed in which it works surprises you, and that happened. And I know that's happening to others in this group, and it's going to continue to happen. And we want to we want to achieve success. We need to take that desire and turn it into action, and that is planning. And planning is essential. Um, if you plan to succeed, but if you fail to plan, that's basically planning to fail.
Yeah, so let's plan to succeed. Do your homework, reach out to us if you have any questions, and we will see you next week when we will speak about leadership.
I can't wait.